You're always trying to sneak your kids candies? Well, this is a little sneaky way to do that and teach them some science. Hi, my name is Danielle. I am the founder and CEO of Make Them Mainstream, helping parents and educators just like you teach young females about science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. If you are new here, welcome. Every Wednesday I post a video about an influential female in STEM, and every Thursday I post a video about female STEM education, or we do a fun STEM activity. And today I'm going to show you a fun STEM activity all about the scientific method that you can do with your daughters or your students after Halloween. And it's almost Halloween, so that means it's almost time for trick-or-treating. And what's more fun as a kid? You get to dress up and get candy? Well, I found a fun way where we can incorporate science and candy together. In this activity, you are going to be able to teach your students about the scientific method, different tastes, and eat candy. If you are looking for a non-food related Halloween STEM activity, then check a link in the description below titled The Teal Pumpkin Project. I call this activity the candy hypothesis, and I first introduced the idea of the candy hypothesis in the Get to Know Your Students video. That video was all about a questionnaire that I made for you to use on the very first day of school or throughout the year to get to know your students. One of the questions was, how would you like to be rewarded when you do something good? And I explain why that question is important and how you can incorporate your students' answers into teaching them about the engineering design process and the scientific method. Whether you teach in a public, private, or homeschool environment, eventually you are going to have to teach your students about the scientific method. The scientific method is a 6-step process that all scientists use during their experiments. And the scientific method is also something that we use every single day without even realizing it. You can introduce the scientific method in a bunch of different ways, but if you want to introduce it during this time of year, that's why I suggest the candy hypothesis. The candy hypothesis is all about using the scientific method in order to hypothesize about a specific taste of a specific kind of candy or a bunch of different candies. So today I thought it would be fun to actually do that experiment because it's Halloween and I want to eat some candy, and I'm sure you do too. So this is the candy hypothesis. This is what you are going to need. Different types of candy, the scientific method chart, which you can download, also located in the description below, a piece of paper, and a pencil. And this is what you are going to do. Step 1 in the scientific method is to observe. Observation is an important part of any experiment because it allows your students to take stock in the information that's right in front of them. In this case, they are going to make an observation about the candy that you present in front of them. They're going to make observations about the wrapper and even the candy itself without tasting it. You can let your students make these observations by themselves or in pairs. Interesting. Step 2 is asking questions. After you observe, the obvious next step is to ask questions. As you know, asking questions is a vital part of any experiment. This piques their curiosity and allows them to digest the information that they just observed. You can come up with your own questions, and you can even tie it to other books or materials that you are learning in class right now. Otherwise, you can ask your students the following questions. What does the wrapper say? What does the wrapper look like? What does the candy look like? What colors are on the wrapper? What color is the candy? What does the candy smell like? Have you ever had this type of candy before? Does this look or smell similar to another type of candy that you have tasted before? Have them write down their answers, draw a picture, or raise their hand in order to communicate the answers that they've come up with to those questions. Now that we've made observations, really taken a good look at this candy, and asked questions about the candy, it's time to hypothesize about the actual taste of this candy. So again, have your students write down or raise their hands about what they think the taste of the candy is going to be. Step 4 is now to test your results. So, that's delicious. Step 5 is analyze the results. After they've made the hypothesis and tasted their candy, were they right? Were they wrong? How are they close to their hypothesis, or how are they super far off? Have them break into pairs in order to collaborate and communicate with each other. This is super important because scientists do this all the time. Once a scientist has tested their hypothesis, it's time for them to analyze their data. So being able to talk about this with you or with another student is incredibly important in prepping them for ways where they are going to be able to analyze their data and more complex data in the future. Step 6 is to report. Remember, communication is so important in science. Have them report their results to you in writing or verbally, depending on their grade level. And you can also incorporate this into a writing lesson. Now, scientific writing is different than literature writing, but the same principles apply. I hope that you enjoyed that idea for the candy hypothesis, and if you did, then please give it a thumbs up. I would love to see how you incorporate this into your classroom and into your homeschool curriculum. If you want more fall STEM activities, then you can check out the link in the description below, or just stay tuned for every Thursday. If you don't want to miss a minute of Make Them Mainstream STEM activities and learning about influential females in STEM as role models for your young females in your life, then like the Make Them Mainstream Facebook page or subscribe to the Make Them Mainstream YouTube channel. Thank you so much for learning with me today. I cannot wait to see what your students do with the candy hypothesis. Don't forget to let me know how it goes in the comments below. Happy learning!